I don't think they were. They at all, and they diffused the situation, and also the songs and everything else. The people, you know, there were a lot of people interested in anarchism, but it was not possible in those days to bring about an anarchist society. Today, it's quite different. I just come back from Lewis. Yesterday, I was in Lewis, and they're issuing their own money.
With Tom Paine on?
Yes, and it looks very good. And I went around the town, and at the Lewis Arms, they were discussing it, and they very much approve it. Or some people say, I don't see the point of it, and some people say, it's going to end up the same way as everything else because they're going to sell those banknotes on eBay and that kind of thing. But
well, it's nice to see Tom Paine.
And why Tom Paine? They say he was a tax collector, wasn't he?
We'll gloss over that aspect. Of
gloss
Tom
over,
Paine.
yes.
The thing I think in the 60s was the fundamental feeling of the student movement all over there was a libertarian by nature, but in this country certainly got the spokesman ended up being people like Tariq Ali and the Trotskyists and the Vietnam sort of, and all the publicity, and they seemed to attract all the publicity and the actual anarchist influence.
Yes.
I think you were on both.
I think Tariq Ali was a very I remember Tariq Ali. The first time I saw him, we had a demonstration against the Vietnam War in Trafalgar Square, and we hired the square. And there were lots and lots of people, and Tariq Ali was there, jumping up and down with a contingent of Oxford undergraduates, shouting, "Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh," and you know, that type of thing. And I must say that they were very clever in, again, confusing the issue just as much as International Times. He's still about confusing the issue, but he's a very lovely, gentle person, you know.
Then, were you on the first Grosvenor Square demonstration, the March one? Which
I was there, yes.
Tell us about that.
It was
about the most exciting demonstration for you.
I personally, this is very difficult. I personally have come to the conclusion that I'm not terribly fond of violence, and I think that violence itself means that we have lost the argument, because you have to, not just violence, but extra. I mean, all these governments, they wouldn't be there if they didn't have their firing power behind it. I mean, they have lost the argument long time ago, and most people realize that. But it's very difficult to shift the situation.
But did you find the demonstration exciting, though? I mean, in terms of moving on from the sit-downs of CND? You know,
well, yes, suddenly there were hundreds of thousands of people. But remember that I was there in Speaker's Corner for 13 days, fasting to end the Vietnam War with the company of 12 other anarchists.
Really?
And we would not have even a glass of water. And I think that kind of thing could be people might admire that kind of thing more than as to who is throwing stone faster than the other.
You really can't sort of underestimate the influence of the Vietnam War in radicalising people, can you? There's those nightly images on the TV screen of napalm and Agent Orange.
Yes, well, I mean, we did have a very, very big, and the Americans have American youth were very left-wing at that time and very forward-looking, and so were the universities here.
You finished editing Freedom in '69. Why was that?
Well, I finished editing Freedom in '69 for various reasons. I wanted to increase the circulation of Freedom, and there were lots of people who didn't have any money but were willing to give away copies to all and sundry, and they said, we are not here to to impoverish the anarchist movement. And I think they were wrong, because you know, it always had a fund, you know, appeal for funds, and the more people read that thing, the more people would have helped. So I think they were wrong.
It's a peculiarity of some English anarchists that they don't
Yeah.
seem to like it when anarchist ideas get popular.
Yes.
They want to keep the ideas to a small coterie of people, and they don't like it when that exclusivity is gone.
And remember that I regard the 1968 situation, the French, without asking anybody else, and without preparing themselves properly. I mean, I did argue the case, and most people don't like the argument that maybe they should not have. After they were defeated by de Gaulle, and we had to retrench ourselves because some of our ideas were defeated, and Cohn-Bendit came to London, and I asked him. Were you there? No. It was and I asked him, you know, that the press is reporting that he was an anarchist. He says he's never been an anarchist, never intends to be an anarchist. But I don't know whether he was pulling my leg. Mm. You know, he had a sense of humor.
Yeah, yeah.
But you really have to have. I mean, if there is a small thing that actually works, like Robert Owen's what have you, is still there up in Scotland, in Lancashire, and that could point towards people, yes, if it works for 20,000 people, it can work for more.
So after 1969,
yeah,
what have you been doing since then?